Hi and welcome to this week's video. Hopefully we get a bit of progress going with the oil cooler. I would like to get it finished, but we'll see how far we get. So follow me and see how I get on. Let's see how things show up on the camera. Probably not brilliant. Sorry for flashing that in your eyes. If I do that, you can probably see I've got marks going down here, cutting away this corner of this scoop section here to give clearance to the lower cowl. And try and get down to this side. It's a similar little bit trimming has happened down there. So the flap that's going to go here is going to have the corners missing off it, because obviously it can't sit flat and it's conform there, and go up. And there isn't going to be enough room for the horn to operate it to come forward at either side, so it's going to have to be somewhere sort of more in the centre, sort of more about here somewhere, for that horn to go through. This gap at the front here and at either side, I'm just going to fill with the orange flame resistant baffling rubber strips, which will be held on by the rivets for the hinge, with some washers on it, and on the sides it'll just be riveted across to the sides of the plate. So that's lovely and easy. We'll let the oil coolers out. That's with the cowl in position. My next little task after I've trimmed that and I've sorted out the rubber and hinging, which is what I'm going to do next, is I'm going to make up the oil lines to go to the pump back to the oil cooler. And that would be pretty much. Oh, and possibly run the Bowden cable through to operate the flap if I've got that fitted and sorted. So a few little tasks to get this bit done, but we'll see what we can do getting there. Okay, so here we are. I've drilled the hinge lower section, having trimmed it to match the cutouts required for the cowl. I haven't trimmed the top hinge section to length. This is slightly thinner baffling rubber material I've put on here, and I've got the thicker stuff on the sides. This one's held in, will be held in by one rivet, and the bolt, this one on this side here, will be held in by 3 rivets, and the bolt going through, so no great issue there. And this lower section here will have the countersunk rivets going through the hinge from the top going down. And what I'll do, all the rivets will go from inside the duct to outside, and I'll put rivet burrs or sort of larger 1/8 inch washers, thin washers on the outside there, to spread the load and help hold this lot in place. So you'll notice although the aluminium's cut out back to here, that gives clearance between it and the fiberglass, and this little lot here can then conform to the fiberglass accordingly. And this front lip here hopefully should sag down below the entrance to the cowl. Well, here's the basic flap. It's not lying flat because of the grippers hitting each other, well, hitting the other sides of the hinge, but there we go. That's it in the sort of free up position. You can sort of see there's still gaps around for air to get through, but the idea is it's going to cause enough turbulence and things, it's just going to slow the airflow back, that will not quite go through the oil cooler, or won't be forced through the oil cooler. And then, so fully open position, it'll be laid back a little bit more than that, which will allow more of a blast of air to go down through the oil cooler. I'll be able to do that. May well help me get the oil up to temperature on a cold winter's day before takeoff, and hopefully be able to control it so it doesn't overcool on the cold winter's days, and be able to open it up so that it stays okay on the hottest of our normal summer's days. We can only hope. Okay, I've trimmed the ends off the pipes off using a Dremel tool with a cutting disc and the tape here. This is just straightforward masking tape. I wrapped around it before I did the cutting to stop the ends from fraying. I've got two different types of union going on to for the system, the oil cooling system. This one is a type that's going on. Just let me get that out of the way. It's the one going on to the oil cooler, and it's the taper end type, where inside this nut section there's a raised ridge. So you've got to push the end of the pipe past the raised ridge and right up to the edge of the threads there, and then tighten it down. And as you tighten it down, this cone section goes through, forces everything out into this sort of raised ridge inside here. So that's one type. The other type is, to my mind, a bit more conventional. You push the pipe down and the sleeve, the braided sleeve, goes around the outside to the thread, while the pipe inner section is going over a taper here, gets pushed down into that groove just inside there, with the nut going down, and it actually forces everything together, and it squeezes the liner of the tube onto this taper and crushes, sort of seals the braid onto this taper. So they're the sort of two types. In this case we're using 7/8 AF spanners for both parts. This one's just a little bit more awkward, so it's got 7/8 there and 1 inch there. So we'll deal with this one first. This is the one that goes onto the oil cooler. I'm just going to put both ends on, and then what I'll do is I'll actually stick one end onto the oil cooler, work out the length I want to the oil pump, and cut the pipe at that point, and work the way through. But just for the purpose of the demonstration, I could do both types of end fitting on each end of this piece of pipe that I have here. Right, so the problem with this type is you can't feed the pipe in with the tape on it to the nut union like you would do on the other ones. Now let's see if I get this off. So it takes a bit of force, pushing it down, giving it a slight turn as you do, and you need to make sure, I don't very much doubt you'll be able to see that in there, but it's seated right up against the thread. Now I'll get this piece in. I'm going to get that to go naturally into the insert, and we want this nut section to stay still, and we're going to turn this bit in. There's a rotating section to allow you to get everything aligned on your particular application. So anyway, go as far as I can like that. And this should seat right up fairly close to the two sections should be very, very close to each other when it's finished. keep it nice and flat. And you can see me having a fight with a snake. Now, of course, if you have the facilities, you pressure test this to 1.5 times the operating pressure. I haven't got that here, but my father does. So once I've made these pipes up, I'll blank one end and I'll pressure test them with engine oil, the same grade as we're using. There's no torque setting for this. It's which might surprise you. Effectively, it's 4 white knuckles and a grunt. Which I'm getting very close to. There we go. So should have less than 1/8 of an inch, which we have. Less than 1/8 of an inch there. That's that. That will align as we need it, so we don't have to fight unions when we're trying to put things together. So that's that one done. Reasonably straightforward. Right, I think I might have too much tape on that one when I cut it. Yeah, I'll just take some of that tape off. Easier said than done sometimes. You could actually take it all off. It shouldn't fray just going through the nut the once, but I like to keep a layer on if I can. Just because this not playing today. I'll still got a couple of layers on, that's why. We'll risk it. I'll take it all off. It's not normally this tight to get through, but it is going. Got the pipe through to just shy of flush with the end of the union nut there. I can now push this on, and as I push this on, this section here will naturally go down the centre, and this edge here will naturally spread out the actual braiding on the outside. But to help that, just a little bit, I do go around just making sure that it's got a little bit of a gap happily forming there, just using a scribe, just gently pushing in to make sure I haven't got any hairs of the braid hanging over the edge, otherwise it causes aggravation. Have a good look, a good inspect of it, make sure it's happy. And this goes in, and it's a real dog to get started normally. I don't think this one's going to be any different. And if we can, we now drive the nut up the braid. So I'll need to oops, get right into the spanner might help. I need to hold the one end stationary, make sure I'm up on there, and start to drive it. Sometimes I'll do this by putting it into a vise. I think in this case I will, and I can hold this and then just push down and drive the nut in. I can't really set the camera up on my vise at the moment for doing that, but once I've got it started I'll bring it back for you. Well, I won't deny it, this one was a bit of a swine to get started, but I got there. So now tighten it up, and again we should get to within less than 1/8 of an inch between the red section and the other. Before it goes rock tight. So there I am, about 4 white knuckles to the grunt, and we are just under 1/8 of an inch. So that is now a nice solid union. This one can go in, I can tighten up on here into the oil pump. I'll put some Loctite sealant on the thread when I permanently fit it, and then get that all orientated nicely. This can go back, can be swiveled around and go onto my oil cooler and tightened up, and job done. But this pipe is just a fraction too long, by about twice the length it needs to be. Here's the basic layout on one side, going up over the top and into the oil pump. But I've run into a slight snag here, I must admit. I messed up. Well, I haven't messed up, but I have messed up. The one for this side I was going to have a 90 degree, but when that's actually in, it's going to be dead in line with this nodule here, and there is enough space for the oil line to go in front of that with the cowl, and having it go down, there isn't enough space there for the pipe to go around like that. And I can't have a straight out one either, that doesn't quite work, so I've got to get a 45 degree so it comes out up there, so this oil pipe can come in like that and not interfere with cowls and bits and pieces. Oh, that's great. Both of them will have some form of P-clip with standoff to hold it to this ducting on both sides, just to help stop it from rattling, shaking, and trying to say hello to the cowl and eat its way through the cowl. This is just free of everything up here, which is okay. That's as tight a radius as you can put into the pipe work. I can still get in to do the dipstick and things like that, so we're okay. So there is the flap operating knob. Whoops, I'd have preferred to have had it on a fixed panel, but it's there, it'll do. And that runs, or run down alongside the throttle mixture cables, and now it comes out of a hole I've just created there, so we can do our little jobby bits over we need to down here to get that to be able to operate this wiggly bit here. So I've got to create a slot in there and a horn on here for this thing to operate on. There we have the last 45-degree union, so got the pipe work able to run from the oil cooler there through there, round and back to the oil cooler there. That's the general layup. That fits inside the cowl quite nicely, so yeah, we've got a reasonable working system. Just it wouldn't quite have worked with a 90 degree because it would have brought it up to that, which is no good. So having it here, we have the cowl clearance. Well, that's it for this week. We've got the oil cooler plumbing sorted out. We've got the flap half done, and the small amount of baffling which is needed done. So we're really pretty much getting there. So not an awful lot left to do, thankfully, on this particular task. Horn to be able to operate the flap, cable's already run, so that's not a problem. Riveting up at the front end, double check the cowl fits and do any slight mods which are needed on that, and then we're on to other things. We've got to look at the air filter for the carburetor mounting system. I don't really like the Sonics method where you sort of knit it in with wire locking, so I may change that slightly. And I've got to start looking at the lip on the bottom of that cowl, the other cowl, and start getting some fasters sorted out for cowl fixing. But that's all minor stuff. We're getting close to being able to take the engine off again, so that I can sort out the firewall insulation and get the engine mounts permanently fitted, the ignition systems permanently fitted on here, and the gasculator fuel system. So a little bit of work still there to come up in the future, not necessarily in the next videos. I'm just giving you a little bit of an idea of what's going on, and I just want to do that for repair. That I think will be in the next video. I want to do that repair on the covering, where I try to drop a battery charger through the fuselage, unfortunately causing a bit of damage to the covering, but thankfully not to the structure. So we'll see what we get up to in the next video. Until then, keep safe, look after yourselves, and hopefully we'll get some sunshine. Bye now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.